Hi everyone, my name is Arpit Vora. Today I am going to show you the seller Nexus project, a complete Java application that helps a seller transfer their products from one e-commerce platform like a Zoom to another platform like a Amazon or the eBay or something like that. And this is the final assignment project with the three parts. The adding five design patterns, adding two major features with the testing, refactoring code to be cleaner and more professional version. And I will explain the everything in simple Java terms, and I will break down the design patterns so you can understand what they do and why we use them. So let's dive into it. And the first thing, we use the backend of our project in a Java Spring Boot and front end in a Angular 15 version. So here in backend folder, there is a backend files, diagrams. These are the plant UML files of the activity class and the sequence diagrams and the front end folder, the Angular classes. So let's go into the backend and we have implemented the five design patterns. The first one is the builder pattern, singleton pattern, strategy pattern, observer pattern, and the decorator pattern. So design patterns are like a recipes for the solving common coding problems instead of investing in new solutions every time. We use the proven patterns in our project. We implemented five important patterns that I have listed. So we have used the builder pattern. First, let me give you an introduction of these patterns. So builder pattern, when we used it to create a complete objects, and then the single pattern used when we want only one instance of the class in the entire application. Then the strategy pattern, we have different algorithms for different platforms. We are used in strategy patterns, and then the observer pattern, used when we need to notify multiple parts of our app about the specific event, and the decorator pattern, used when we want to add extra behavior to existing code. So let me show where they are in the code and how they are working together. So here is our Java application, and I have used in a builder pattern in our model, in one of the model platform credentials. So there are many fields in a platform credential entity. There are too much like ID, platform, seller, which platform are they, seller, access token, refresh token, and there are many more. So what is the builder pattern will do? It is give a specific name or give a specific reference to each and every field, is something like that. So uh, imagine building a pizza. You add base, sauce, cheese, toppings on one by one, and then get your pizza, the fully ready. So same as like that. There are many fields are there in our credentials, platform credentials. So we have used it because the readable code, flexible fields, no parameter or mistakes. We use this to create test data and build credential from the responses. So it is easy to use to understand any of the entity or big entity, which we can say to the developers or any of the user which are using our application. And then the second one is a singleton pattern. So we have used our singleton pattern in config API client config manager. So API client config manager is a manager which are sending the client configs to our each and every parts where the configs are used, or we can say any of the classes where configs are required. It is sending there the configs. So Our singleton pattern thinks of like a school principal. There is only one person doing the job, which are who are handling the whole school or whole code, same as like our code. So this is the class which are providing the client config to all of the classes which are required for the client configs. So there is a single source of truth, memory efficient and thread safe. All our services use the same REST template and object mapper instance for API calls. And then the strategy pattern. I have implemented the third pattern is the strategy pattern. So what we have done here, so platform API strategy, we have done for the Zoom, it's one e-commerce platform. Then the second one is Amazon, and there are many more platforms, e-commerce platforms. We have used the strategy pattern for that. The strategy pattern is super important here. It lets us support multiple e-commerce platforms without changing our code. So, uh, Zoom API is different from the Amazon API, right? Which is different from the eBay API. Different URLs, different authentication, different API calls, different formats, and all of that are different from each other. So we need to do this functionality for the future work or anything. I have implemented it, but currently I have implemented only the Zoom accounts transfer, from one Zoom account to the another Zoom account. We are transferring products and all of this from only to the Zoom. But in future, we are doing the Amazon and Flipkart, and that's all. So if at that time our platform is multi platform, like multiple e-commerces are there in our platform, right? So we are managing these things by strategy patterns. So what is the solution we have? We have defined one interface, a contract that all platform must follow. We have added one field called platform in our platform credentials. So it is showing that which platform it is. It is Zoom, it is Amazon, or it is the eBay, like something like that. So each platform has its own implementation, Zoom API strategy, Zoom Amazon API strategy. So first of all, platform API strategy is the base. Then after the platform API strategy factory, what it is doing at runtime, it is transferring the specific strategy to the specific API strategy. If it's Zoom, if it's Amazon, then it transferred to the Zoom, and if it's Amazon, then it's transferred to the Amazon. And the further process will followed by the specific platform. So the process will be easier and no side effects of the each others. If there is something another in a Amazon platform and there is something another in Zoom API, right? So we are separating this through the strategy pattern. Then after our fourth pattern is the factory pattern. So sorry, the fourth pattern is the observer pattern. So what we are doing the transfer events logs in the observer pattern. We are identifying the API call. We are transferring the products from one platform to the another, right? So it is a failed or it is a succeed or not. In this case, we are using the observer. So observer patterns are mainly using the publisher and the listener. So what is the observer pattern handles the real-time updates during the product transfers. So the problem when transferring the thousand and we can say 100 and 1,000 products at one time from one platform to the another. So how do we show the progress? How do we notify the user? How do we log through the events? I have a functionality in my app too to show the logs of the any specific call, like it is a succeed or it is a failed or what is the specific error in that API call, which is handled by this observer functionality or observer design pattern. The whole thing. See, it's a started fetching product fetch. What is the process completed or the failed at the end? And then after we have used the fifth is a decorator pattern. So we have used the decorator pattern here in resilient platform API strategy. So the decorator pattern is really cool in our case. It adds the superpower to our existing core without changing it. Uh, just think, what if Zoom API or the Amazon API is down, and what if the network fails temporarily? Our app will crash, right? So the solution is a decorator pattern in our case. So think of decorating a Christmas tree. You have a tree, right? It's the original object. Tree is the original object. You add the lights, the first decorator. Then you add the ornaments. It's a second decorator. So tree is still a tree, but now it's a decorated tree. So what is the main work of it? So client will request to the our resilient platform API strategy. So there is one functionality called circuit breaker which we have used. It's a service is healthy or not. It is identifying it. Like if there is a API call to the server for the fetching the product, and the server transfer it to the third party API, right? Like a Zoom. So after the three network interruption or any of the three failed interruption, it's a retry three times. It retries three times of the any of the failing, and after the successful five failed attempts, it is totally like circuit is off, and it is not sending the request to the third party API. So what is the main goal here is the useless calls are not making at that time when the API is failing or API is shut down. So how all five patterns work together? So let me show how all five patterns work together in a real transfer. So builder pattern creates a credential objects as I explained. Then the singleton is provide a shared REST template. Strategy selects the Zoom or Amazon platforms. There are different platforms, right? And the decorator patterns, the circuit backer plus the retry to the strategy. So at the last observer pattern publish the progress event of the which we can say a logs in our application. And after that, now let's talk about the part two, feature updates and the testing. So in feature updates, I have done the two things, enhance the auth authentication and the product transfer service. So auth authentication is not for our app, like not for our proper application like this one. It is for a third party application for the Zoom and the Amazon and something like that. So the auth authentication, secure login with the state verification, move products between platforms with the variant handling, and that's all which I have done in part two. So the first feature, Let me explain the auth authentication flow. So, what is auth? Auth is like allowing someone to use your ID instead of giving them your password. So, you click just a minute. You- Here is our Connect Zoom account, right? So, here you write the label client ID, client secret from the Zoom API manager or API configuration. You can take this from the Zoom platform, Zoom seller platform. So you click login with Zoom, and Zoom asks, do you want to allow this app? It redirect to the another link where you are pushing the grant. And when you say yes, Zoom gives the app a token instead of your password. So it is your credential when you are trying to make the API calls to that platforms. So after that, app will use the token to act on your behalf, right? This is the thing. So this step one is generate the authorization URL, which when you are transferring to the another link of the Zoom, at that time auth URL will generate, and it is generated with the client ID, user ID means client ID, client secret, and the label. We have added the label because of our storage process. Like we need our we need to save the specific label to our database because if there are multiple accounts of the same platform of the same user, like I am owning the Balaji at gmail.com and Horazable06, both the account, right? So this is the thing which I have used, and now see I'm this is the controller for the our seller Nexus. There are all the controllers. So the first one which we are talking about the Zoom auth controller. So what front end will give the request to the Zoom authentication, and then to this controller, and this controller will transfer our request to the service called, yes, auth service, Zoom auth service, and we are here. So in it, we are transferring the label. This create a special URL that directs users to a Zoom login. The URL includes a state parameter, a secret code we generated to prevent hackers from the tracking us. Like when we transfer to the Zoom will give a secret code, and we saving this secret code in our database, and then after we are using these separate calls to making the connection with any of the platforms like a Zoom. So after that, exchange the code for token, and when the user approves, Zoom sends back the code. We exchange this code for a real token, and all the things are implemented here in this file Zoom auth controller. So get authorization URL first. It's here, like we are passing the client ID direct URL to the official API of the Zoom, and then we get the some response this, and in that response there are a client secret, and that's all. And we are saving this into our database, and these are the different methods, supporting methods we can say, for doing all of this process to for saving our client secret, client ID, and code and redirect URL, that all in our database. And after that we have also implemented the refresh access token. Like after sometimes it is like expire, our access token is expired, so it will automatically refresh the access token, and it is working not and that all, which I have added the test access token, and that's all. So after that, The token is safely stored, and our we sign the state parameter with the HMAC SHA-256 secret encoding, which here in, yeah, here in code. We verify signature to prevent tampering. We expire state parameters after 5 minutes. We store refresh token to get a new access token when all one expire, as I said. And then after, our second feature is the product transfer service. So this is the Zoom product controller, which is taking the products from the Zoom and list in our platform. Like here is the page for the Zoom product. See, here are different products from different accounts. Like there are many of them all of the page. I'm not saving these products into our database. It is directly from the Zoom API. And we have just structured that. After that, this is the feature which I am talking about, the transfer. Here is the one product transfer, like one product per transfer, and this is the bulk transfer, like we can select the multiple products from here, from one account to the another account, and transfer it. And just let me show you the code. So what does it do? It takes a product from one Zoom account and create it on another Zoom account. But it is more complex than just copying. We need to handle variants like different sizes and colors and etc. And there are many more fields that we need to manage here. So the transfer process is four steps. So first one is fetch a source product from the source account and get the product details from the source Zoom account, like I shown you in earlier from the and build create payload to for the target account, and then transform the product data to match what we target Zoom account expect. Different platforms have a different requirements, and I have also handled the variants, and that's all. Like if we have a one t-shirt, then there are many sizes in t-shirt, like S, M, L colors. There are many colors, red, blue, green. We need to map this correctly. So if these are not mapped correctly, then the API will give us error, and we can't successful in our process. So we have managed carefully it and create on the target and send the product to the target Zoom account and get back the confirmation. This is done or not done. So also we can identify it by the directly going on the Zoom account where it's a targeted account which you have mentioned, and you can see there that that products are listed or not. So these are my two functionalities which I have added in part 2, and yes, here is our test methods which I have built. The first one is a Zoom auth service test. Here all the authentications of the auth and that's all are listed here. And I have written the test cases and all according the mock. And then the product things are Zoom product service stats, and the all the like patching and putting and take it one by one product patching, and that's all is here in a Zoom product service test. And the Zoom transfer service test. I have added here for the bulk transfer and the one-to-one transfer. Both the scenarios are added here, and then the transfer log service which is one of my functionalities. Like we can see the transfer logs if it is failed or not. That's all. So I have added this all things in my backend, and after that, in part 3, I have done the refactoring codes, like clean code, we can say. Clean code is about writing code that is easy to read, understand, and maintain, that we have learned in our lecture. And then in part 3, I implemented the many simple code solutions. Like I have divided the smaller methods and the smaller task, which is accordingly a specific task. Like if there is authentication, like many things which are together in a Zoom auth service, right? So get authorization URL, store a secret from the state, retrieve and remove secret. For if all of these are mashed up in a one method, then it is very hard to identify what is doing where or something like that. That's why I have divided it into many small methods, so it is easy to understand for any of the developer and any of them. And that's all. Here is my application. You can see them. There is a product transfer. Well, I select resource and the target, and by selecting it, you can transfer. And currently, I have reached to the maximum limit of the account. So there are total 1,000 products per account, right? So I can't add the more products in my Zoom account. So currently I'm showing you a circuit breaker functionality. So there is a one fail call, right? So see, thinking backend, yes, you can see this is the fail call, right? And I am trying this 5 times. Currently, circuit health, I am resetting it. I have tested it. So currently it's up. The APIs and completely are working. So now what we are doing, like 5 API fail call, right? We are doing 5 fail API call. So it will down our system by the circuit breaker. See, see, it's down, 5 failure count. And now it will not going to put the request on a Zoom for the transferring, because the circuit is on a down state, so system is in down state. So when we reset the breaker, at that time it will make the call to the third party API, else it will not going to do. So let me summarize what I have done. In part 1, design patterns, there are 5 design patterns which I have mentioned. And then in part 2, feature implementation, there are 2 features, like auth to authentication, main secure login, and then the product transfer service, move products between multiple platforms with 76 unit tests, ensuring everything works correctly or not in a test folder. And then I refactored the code, broke down large methods, uh, added the comprehensive guard clauses, and making the code easier for any of the developers who who will work in future. And thank you all. That's all for my project.